Imagine the new common sense in an uncommon world. There is no blue pill. There is no red pill. Just the truth. It's time to go down the rabbit hole. Good luck. The physics of God. I often wondered as a child if God existed. The Bible says God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, the Alpha and the Omega, creating matter out of light. Many scientists scorn the existence of a creator of the magnitude stated in the Bible. They truly believe there is no God, based upon the current research available. Yet isn't modern science getting closer to proving his very existence? You be the judge. Yet consider this empty space. It might humble you to know that all of those things, your friends, your office, your really big car, you yourself, and even everything in this incredible vast universe are almost entirely made out of space. As a matter of fact, it's 99.9999999% empty space. And do you know about dark matter? Well, dark matter is that thing that we can't really observe very well because it's dark and in the universe. Only 0.01% of the galaxy is made of ordinary visible matter, stuff that is made of atoms containing protons, neutrons, and electrons. But the other 99.99% of Dragonfly 44's mass is the ever-elusive dark matter. Of all the stuff in this Milky Way-sized galaxy, we can see almost nothing, according to Scientific American. A neurobiologist, COMMON, I hope I said that correctly, used previous reports to estimate that the fraction of what has come to be called neural dark matter in the brain could be as high as 60 to 90%. That's where they get that 10% functional brain or 40% functional brain. So that means our brains, are they using their full capacity? That's the question. Now, let's take a little mathematics here. Mathematics of knowledge, what we can know on this little spinning globe. To put this in perspective, if 99.999999% of the universe is space, of which we know little about, and the only light matter we have is 0.01%, that means 99.99% of the matter in the universe is dark, which is difficult to observe and study. How much do we really know? See, let's take a look at it. That leaves 0.000000001% of the universe matter we can truly study from this dust speck of a planet in our universe. With what? A 10 to 40% lighted functioning brain. Let's put this in perspective. Imagine a child, yourself, locked in a house, in your bedroom, looking out at the universe from their own window, making assumptions about the sun, moon, stars, and space itself in the universe based upon their observation only. It is not logical that they can arrive at any concrete conclusion about this universe or the multiverse itself with any certainty based on such minimal information. Does that make any sense that any scientist on this planet can prove anything about the existence or non-existence of God? Let's find out the definition of God as we stated earlier. The Bible defines God as a being of omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Well, what is omnipotent? This means God is all-powerful. It is interesting to note that the smaller we get, the more powerful our weapons become. The atom and its more powerful, smaller particle weapons. See, we have the atomic bomb. Did you know this? For example, the splitting of the atom led to one of the most powerful weapons in the world, yet more recent developments have shown even more powerful weapons developed from even smaller parts of the atom, such as particle beam weapons of protons, neutrons, and even electrons. Researchers have even developed a photon bomb, that's a light bomb, more powerful than the atomic bomb and even the heat of the sun. And then Tesla, we all know about Tesla, but what about Tesla's death ray? And his earthquake machines used energy waves and resonance that could literally shatter any matter in their path, even possibly the Earth itself, with just waves of energy. What about the power of empty space? Is space really empty? Well, not according to Michael Talbot in the Holographic Universe, which states within every cubic centimeter of the emptiness of the vacuum of space, there exists the energy of more than 1 trillion atomic bombs, more potential power than all the known matter in the universe. That's an empty space. So, Is God in the void that we call empty space? If God is the void from which all creation comes, then would it not make sense that his void would be all powerful? Scientists are getting awfully close to such infinite power. Omnipresent. Omnipresent means God is everywhere all at once. How can anything be even in two places at the same time? Well, first of all, let's take a look at Einstein to see what is time. It appears that relativity that Einstein found could explain how time may not be a constant, and therefore it could vary our very existence. So think about that. Two times, one place, or two places, one time. Let's go on to matter existing in two places at one time. The question boils down to, can matter be in two places at one time? Scientists have finally proven the answer to be yes. David Winland and Chris Monroe at the National Institute of Standards and Technology were successful at teasing a beryllium atom to exist in two places at one time. This was discovered back in 1996. We've also have anecdotal evidence of saints. Catholic churches have not only they existed in two places at one time. Here's a quote from the Diary of Saint Maria Faustina, which dates back to 1797. She says in her diary, "Suddenly I found myself in a strange cottage where an elderly man was dying amidst great torments. When I began to pray, the soul became calm and filled with trust, rested in the Lord. At the same moment, I found myself again in my own room. Now this happens, I don't know." Another saint, it is San Giovanni Rotondo, Padre Pio, called. During World War II, while Italy was under Nazi control, an American bomber went to attack the city of San Giovanni Rotondo, where St. Padre Pio's monastery was. As the plane approached the city, before it could unload its weapons, a friar in a brown robe appeared in the air before the aircraft. The shocked pilot failed to release the bombs over the city, and San Giovanni Rotondo was spared. Later, the pilot met Padre Pio, and San Giovanni Rotondo, recognizing him as the monk who appeared before him in his airplane. Now, if matter can exist in two places at once, or even maybe people, what about matter, the same matter appearing everywhere at once? Sounds like that new movie out, right? Everywhere, everything, everywhere at once. If matter can exist in two places at once, then it is possible matter may exist in infinite places at one time. David Bohm explains how each part of the universe may contain every part of the entire universe, such as a holographic picture has the whole picture within every part of the original picture. Photons have been shown to be connected to each other by some unseen force at large distances, too large for any communication, even at the speed of light. This was proven by Aline Aspect, Jean Delibard, and Gerard Roger, where they demonstrated that two photons were able to correlate their angles of polarization, the direction, with each other with no possible means of communication. It's as if they're all part of one body. These photons somehow coordinated their movements, yet they had no means of communication to do so at that distance. So let's take another look at something. If God is a part of all matter, he can be present within all matter at the same time, true? So photons, the building blocks of all matter, can be interconnected with all other matter. Therefore, God, who is a part of all matter, can be present within all matter at the same time. Omniscience. Well, what is omniscience? It means knowing everything and everyone, in a sense, all-knowing. How can God possibly know everything within the universe? Remember, every hologram contains the information of the whole if it's taken from. Just as every cell has DNA for the blueprint for the human body it is a part of. Just remember Jurassic Park and cloning. Well, let's take a look at some research. Every cell has been found to have the memory of the entire body. In addition, through the research of Candace Pert and other scientists, we are now realizing that memory is not entirely in the brain, but is retained within every cell of the body. Also, they found the hologram exists in your own brain. Dr. Previn found that the brain actually performs more like a hologram than a compartmentalized organ. Peace, a skeptic of this concept, conducted experiments involving the slicing and dicing of salamanders' brains, and he proved that when over half the brain was removed, the salamander still had its entire memory and could function. The potential of an infinite holographic knowledge. The knowledge of every brain cell contains the knowledge of the entire brain. It has been discovered that 1 square inch of the holographic film can store the same amount of information contained in 50 Bibles. So let's take a look at space. God's memory in every part of space. David Bohm goes on to state, if this universe is holographic, then every part of the vacuum of space will have memory of all the other parts of energy composing matter within the entire universe. God could truly know everything that exists within 1 square inch of space. Could the thoughts of God create light? And as the Bible said, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. Well, the thoughts of man seem to be able to cause this. The Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel has proven that when photons were observed, they acted like particles. However, when they were not observed, the photons acted more like waves. So the mere observation caused photons to become matter, particles, light. Thought creates matter. Worthy are you, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will they existed and were created. By God's will, his thoughts. It seems the very existence of light as matter depends upon our observing and thinking of the light. Then it is an easy assumption to see how God's thoughts could have affected the creation of light, since we are all mere reflections of God. Let there be light. In the Bible it states, from this light came God's creation of matter. Well, the Stanford Linear Accelerator was able to accomplish just that. By focusing intense lasers of light into a single space, they're able to create the first matter, an electron and a positron, from light. This is just a baby step in the creation of atoms and matter itself. This was reported in LA Times in 1997. Empty space may not be so empty as we stated previously. Let's read a little bit about this again. The void in space may not be as empty as we once thought. Scientists have found in a series of experiments that the vacuum is not empty as once thought. They have found energy waves exist and matter can be created in the vacuum of space. Let's hear that again. Matter can be created in the vacuum of space where nothing exists. The universe out of nothing. Could God create the universe out of nothing? Well, it appears that incredibly tiny universes spontaneously nucleate out of nothing. And this is from Michio Kaku, Making Universes Out of Nothing, reported in 1995 Science News. Can God create life from matter? Well, Canadian scientist Gaston Naessens has proven organisms can be created in sterile water, vial jar, when the right electromagnetic waves are applied. So that means when electric current goes through water that has nothing alive in it, suddenly something comes to life, organisms. That was in Future Medicine Publishing. Jesus raising the dead. Are we able to take something that was once alive that is dead and bring it back to life again? Can something come from something that doesn't actually exist as life? Well, in several freakish experiments conducted in the late 1700s, early 1800s, the scientists found that a specific electric current applied to a liquid metal caused the formation of a life form. It was like a fly that materialized and flew away. Even more interesting is the research by Bose. In addition, Bose conducted experiments that showed metals and life forms respond in a similar fashion to stress and relaxation. He demonstrated that metals become stronger and recovered faster when treated with a massage or warm water, just as life forms do. So is what we call matter around us, is it dead or is it alive? And can it have more life-like features? Did you know our DNA is changeable? We say it's fixed, but is it? One scientist in China found this out when he was doing research in 1994. Stated, even our DNA is changeable. As a matter of fact, our DNA acts more like a cassette tape that picks up bioelectromagnetic signals transmitting energy and information simultaneously, which are moving photons, as we talked about earlier. Dr. Chiang Kenzan, biomicrowave communication device, did experiments that yielded positive results in the field of transmission of genetic information from one organism to another. In other words, he was able to change melon genes into cucumbers and made them taste like melons. Cucumbers taste like melons. Peanut genes into sunflower seeds and make them taste like peanuts. Duck genes into baby chickens, which acquired webbed feet and a duck-shaped head when hatched. Rabbits received goat genes and grew large curved teeth. And his 80-year-old father received his young genes, causing his hair to grow back and turn from gray to black. His arthritis disappeared, and he even grew a new tooth. Jesus turned water into wine. That's that whole alchemy, the idea of transforming one matter into another matter. But is that miracle so far-fetched? Not according to Louis C. Kevron, Nobel Prize winner, the Philosopher's Stone, as in Harry Potter. Well, let's take a look at this. He was able to prove that animals could actually change matter from one element to another when needed. Chickens were able to create calcium for their bodies when none was present in their diet. Thus, the alchemist's dream of a philosopher's stone had occurred in our very own bodies, the ability to change one substance element to another, as Jesus did. The auras of reality. Do we have energy around us? Like the saints, they show these auras or globes around their heads. Does it really exist? Well, Dr. Robert Becker was able to prove through his experiments that we have a bioelectromagnetic field that surrounds our body. This is often referred to as the halo around saints, auras, and etheric body. Now, we know this aura of energy does exist and can be measured, and Dr. Beck found that salamanders are able to regenerate by changing the electrical signals in the body to signal stem cells to grow into the missing body part. After all science has shown, we are all light energy condensed to make the appearance of matter. That was 1985. Imagine that electrostimulation can regenerate body parts. That energy field that we see that exists around every one of us. How about the power of our minds? You remember this scene, Jesus walking in water. These things you shall do and more, Jesus said to his followers. Today, we're coming close to understand what Jesus was talking about. He's referring to our minds, that special gift God gave to each one of us that is more powerful than any weapon ever created by man. In the following research, you will see why I make that assertion. The power of the human mind. The mere observation of photons causes them to behave as particles. However, when they are not observed, they behave as waves. We discussed this earlier. But that means we actually affect the building block of matter, the photon, light. Let's go one step further. You may have heard of this gentleman out of Japan. The blessings affect matter. Experiments conducted in Japan show that when monks blessed polluted water, it changed its molecular structure. It became clean and vibrant again. The same happened when food was blessed. It became healthier to eat, just by the blessings. Thought. Remote viewing. You may have heard of this before. The CIA put money into it. The mind can be used to view places around the world without even leaving the body. Just ask Ingo Swann, a CIA and U.S. military remote viewer, who along with other subjects was able to use his mind to tap into the collective unconscious and get information on American hostages, nuclear and biological warfare facilities, and other military targets. Subjects placed in an empty lead-covered room were instructed to find particular military places of top-level security and reveal the structures, personnel, and even documents found in such places. Most of the subjects were able to describe details from the secured targets with amazing accuracy. How about the mind affecting probability? Well, we found out that it's definitely true. Experiments were conducted to test the mind's ability to affect random results in probability experiments. It was discovered that subjects could statistically cause falling balls to land in outer bins more than inner bins when concentrating on the desired outcome. How about the rolling of dice? If you go to Vegas, you may be surprised. Will the outcome of chance? Research by Joseph Banks Ryan from the Parapsychology Laboratory of North Carolina's Duke University found that a person's intention influenced matter. His research demonstrated subjects could will the outcome of a roll of dice. So from now on, you better believe in Lady Luck when you're rolling your dice. How about the mind affecting machines? Now, we're all worried about AI taking over, but what if our mind can affect the very essence of any computer, any AI? Through mental concentration alone, human beings are able to affect the way certain kinds of machines operate. As stated, the Gremlin in the Machine, Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory, 1987. Our minds can affect the machines that we use. We all heard about meditation. Can meditation actually control your mind and change your physiology? Well, meditation has been shown that our mind can slow body functions such as heart rate and blood pressure. And it's also shown that it increases our immune response just from meditation. How about visualization? We've all heard of if you visualize something, it will come true. A lot of Olympic athletes use this. Well, there's actually research published in Bernie Siegel, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, 1993. Visualization was shown to be effective in treating cancer and other illnesses by focusing the patient's mind on the inner works of the body and imagining the response of the body necessary to correct the problem, such as cancer. It was discovered the more accurate the visualization by the patient, the more tangible the results of recovery by the patient. Visualizing your recovery has an impact on your recovery, according to science. Now, you've heard of the movie Split and multiple personalities, but did you know some of the amazing things that they can do? Changing personalities can change your life. Probably even more astonishing is the ability of multiple personality disorder patients to change their bodily functions and brainwaves instantaneously when they change personality. MPD patients have been documented curing allergies, arthritis, diabetes, third-degree burns, epilepsy, and blindness. Yes, blindness, by simply changing to a personality that does not have that illness. Mind over death. In a rare series of experiments done in India, here's one of them documented. In India, scientists studied the ability of yogis to be buried alive, yes, that you heard that, in meditative state for several days and be exhumed with no harm to their physical bodies. This experiment done here was only for a few hours, but still just burying him for 2 hours underground, and he was able to come back out unharmed. How did he survive? And it was documented in India. Minds together affect life. Well, if one mind can affect matter, what if we all focus our minds on the same thing? What results? Well, read this. If you think it is amazing what one mind can do, what could several minds together do? Several studies have been conducted in which prayer and its effects have been recorded. Prayer was found to germinate plants faster, retard growth of microorganisms, lower blood pressure, increase healing rates, and reduce hospital stays. The power of coherent thought. Have you heard of the 100 monkey syndrome? Well, let's read about it. The power of coherent thought is like the power of coherent light that makes lasers. Take the 100th monkey syndrome to demonstrate this concept. An experiment was conducted on an island with the monkeys. They were taught how to wash their food. More surprising was the fact that the monkeys from other islands and the mainland began washing their food also with no means of physical contact with each other. The explanation for this phenomenon was that the consciousness of the species of animals was made aware of this new habit. That means in the ether above us, somehow all these monkeys on one island, because they were focused on that, other monkeys picked it up and started doing the same thing. Imagine as humans if we have a collective thought. What could happen? How could we transform it to others around the world, like peace, for example? Group prayer and its power for health. It is believed that when enough humans concentrate on a single thought, it can affect the thoughts of all surrounding humans. This is evidence in support groups for cancer patients. It is found that cancer in these support groups has a higher success rate and longer survival rate, according to Dean Hornish, MD, in Love and Survival, HarperCollins, 1997. Love in your health. Yes, that is love. Probably one of the 2 highest commandments that Jesus said. Love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus said is one of the most important commandments you need to follow. The company you keep will determine the type of person you are to become. Their collective thoughts will influence you. The love you feel and receive will determine your health. Numerous studies were conducted regarding feeling loved in a group. The results were a longer life, fewer serious illnesses, and faster recovery from illness. Now, having said this about the importance of group thought and thinking positive thoughts and how it affects us, what if there was another source that was creating thoughts for us that may not be beneficial? Be aware, we know what happens with social media, our phones, our TVs, and everything. But did you know the history of psychological warfare? This is just a brief glimpse into something you need to be aware of. This is why television and the media have such an influence on us. What we see, hear, and read become our thoughts and cause our reality. Just ask the people of Tavistock. Never heard about the psychological warfare unit out of Sussex, England? David Sarnoff and William Paley from CBS, NBC, and ABC have all been graduates from Tavistock, trained in the art of psychological warfare. So be careful what you're watching and how much that influences your thoughts. Does God exist? That's really the question we're talking about throughout this. Does it matter if God exists? Does our belief in God give us hope and the ability to dream for a better life? Without God, what are we left with in our thoughts? Without God, how many of you ask the question, why should I go on in this life? God exists. Science is marching toward that reality that all Bible believers have already known to be true. How important are our thoughts? They are the most important things in our lives. Take care what you think because it will become your reality, and only God knows what that could be if we all just believe in God. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Common Sense. Make sure to click, put a like down there, and subscribe to us, and donate if you can so you can keep our work going. Thank you.